Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Welcome back to another optimistic news, or something along those lines. Yes, so it's not that the optimism ever even waned or like kind of lowered, but now we're getting like mega optimism back in the market. You might remember a week or two ago, somewhere around there, we had a lot of news that because markets had picked back up, people began to throw out numbers again, talking about where they believe that Bitcoin is going to go over the course of this year. The expectation being the ETFs, as we've been seeing, for those of you who somehow missed the news, have been inflowing again. Yay! Because before the news is that there were outflows from the ETFs. 99% of people in the crypto market forgot that you can actually buy coins on crypto exchanges. So every time that the ETFs were selling their Bitcoin, whales, rich people, were buying an equivalent or a morer amount than was actually even sold. So this was scaring people because they're like, if ETF no do well, how market do well? Not realizing that whales have been buying the exact same time. So the re-inflows into the Bitcoin ETF space have spurred optimism within the space. And that's when we heard that people were like, oh yeah, we are probably going to get to a $130,000 Bitcoin by December. Remember that one? About 2 weeks ago, just give or take. And then that transformed lightly into the idea of 2025, and we had a bunch of people talking about a $220,000, $250,000, maybe a $300,000 Bitcoin. For those of you who are uninitiated, I don't know, who haven't been here before, the craziest numbers that we heard were $500,000 to a $600,000 Bitcoin next year. The idea being, I don't know, just a lot of accumulation and all the other stuff that's been going on for those of you who've been missing it. And I've been saying this for years, but now it's even more crazier than it was before. There's not a lot of Bitcoin left, and the rich people keep buying it. People keep conflating the idea of like ETF inflows and also subsequently outflows as like the only good and bad within the market, not realizing that there are tons of wallets who are constantly always buying up a lot of Bitcoin. And these wallets usually daily are buying even more Bitcoin than is actually being created. So people assume because there's still some Bitcoin left on cryptocurrency exchanges, well, Bitcoin's just infinite, is always going to be there forever, not realizing that there's only 450 Bitcoin created per day by the machine. The issue is that people who are mining the coins, their goal isn't to simply pay $30,000 a month in electricity and then sell all of their coins and go, yeah, we made nothing this month. This was very, very fun. No, they're doing it to accumulate Bitcoin for themselves. So those 450 Bitcoin aren't actually even hitting crypto exchanges because they're being purchased by, say it, I'm the only one in the room, but say it, by banks. Yeah, for those of you who missed that news about 2 months ago as well, the people who are mining Bitcoin said that they've been talking to or approached by large banks who are buying all their Bitcoin that they may be selling to pay for their electricity. So there's literally no new Bitcoin entering the market. The only new Bitcoin that's entering the market, that is entering the market, is coming from people who are selling, who've grown impatient, who at some point over the course of the last couple of months and or years have been selling their coins because they're like, Bitcoin price no go nowhere. I don't know why I keep doing that, but you understand exactly what I'm talking about. So as the optimism has re-entered the room and people are trying to figure out exactly where Bitcoin's going to go, someone by the name of Joe Burnett, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Unchained Capital, has thrown a new monkey into the wrench, or wrench into the blockchain, or something with an animal. And he has claimed that according to his charts, he thinks that people aren't really understanding exactly what's going on right now with the traditional financial system, what's happening with the levels of Bitcoin accumulation, how little Bitcoin there actually is being created by the machine, and how much of it is actually being bought up by whales. He says that because of this constant strain and constraint on the Bitcoin market, we might according to Joe Burnett, see a valuation of $750,000 per Bitcoin. He's talking about the market cycles and how a lot of people are very hung up on the 2020 cycle. For those of you who do not know, predictions for Bitcoin's price in 2020 were over 100,000 US dollars. For some reason, a lot of people pretended and still pretend that the world wasn't in literal utter chaos and that all markets were collapsing. So people keep saying, well, the world was on fire, but Bitcoin's price didn't hit 100K. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because the world was. So he says that people are hung up on that market cycle and that people need to actually perceive Bitcoin from the light of what's actually going on, is that all these institutions have entered into the space. We knew they were there before, like on the sidelines, but now they're in the market. Now they're buying up hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin every couple of months. And this is something that I've said before in other videos as well. People aren't paying attention to these numbers. We were already expecting a $200,000 Bitcoin. For those of you who do not know how the story goes, Bitcoin's price should have gone over 100K in 2020. World collapse. You understand. All markets no do good. The issue ended up being is that even based off of the 70,000 that we hit in previous cycles before, unless something insane happens again, we would probably see a $150,000 to a $200,000 Bitcoin just with the level of accumulation that we had before the Bitcoin ETFs. As we got the Bitcoin ETFs and people saw the prices going up, they go, yeah, euphoria. But they didn't realize that like these levels of accumulation were like incredibly staggering, as I've said before, for those of you who were not here. When you talk about a handful of companies accumulated over 1 million Bitcoin in 4 months, that's nothing. Can anyone tell me why? Anyone in the class? Because 4 months is not 8 months, is not a year. If these are the levels of accumulation that we're seeing now, where the fudge are we in 2025? How many Bitcoin do these companies and institutions actually have? And the problem also is that everyone is not just accumulating through ETFs. People are accumulating spot crypto exchanges. Institutions are also buying OTC from these crypto exchanges as well, and it's taking a lot of Bitcoin off of the table. People keep pretending that like the ETFs are the only thing that's happening within the market, and it's like, do you understand what it means for these trillion-dollar companies to get into the space and in 1 year accumulate 1 million Bitcoin? Even if we were on the slow track and said, okay, these accumulation levels, they have to continue for another 3 to 4 years. That would literally mean in 3 to 4 years, there's no Bitcoin left. But guess what? Hey guys, yeah, you're right there. The problem is that there's barely any Bitcoin left already. If they accumulate at the same levels that they've been accumulating, by the time we get to the end of the year, all the liquid Bitcoin will be gone. Thus the $750,000. See, everyone's understanding right now. He said, this model is fascinating because it shows a logical inflection point that occurred in 2020 around the third halving. It highlights that illiquid supply as a percentage of total supply held at an all-time low percentage, and it's been slowly climbing ever since. The amount of illiquid Bitcoin continues to rise. People are buying up Bitcoin and they have no intention of selling. People are talking about a $1 million Bitcoin over the course of either next year, or 2028, or 2029, or 2030, or 2032. It doesn't matter the time frame. If you get to $1 million Bitcoin, you're still holding on to $1 million Bitcoin. The people who are accumulating, they're making a gigantic illiquid supply, so that any buying has a positive movement on the price, and it's only going to get more constrained as rich people keep buying and have no intention of selling. And this is where we currently are right now. People Listen, if you're one of the people paying attention, bless your heart. But for the 99% of other people out there, this is what's currently taking place. And this is why I think these market cycles are very fascinating. Even like with the movement down in price over the course of 3 months, we had every day there was news. Grayscale sold, BlackRock sold, Fidelity sold. A couple of hours later, in the news, whales bought $114 million worth of Bitcoin. In the last 7 days, whales have bought $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. It was the same loop over and over and over and over. I still think prices only fell to fill up the pockets of the rich people and making. I mean, they also kind of said it. The point was to basically liquidate, to push out newcomers to the market because they don't want you here. So that they could basically gobble up all of your coins as quickly as humanly possible. And then he went on to note something else that the majority of the people in the market continue to forget and not pay attention to. More than 90% of all the Bitcoin that there will ever be was already mined in 2020. It is going to take another 115 or so years, 115 years, to mine the last, I believe, like 5 or 6% of Bitcoin. So I am expecting amazingly crazy, wonderful, insane things for this market. A lot of people, I think, are not paying attention. I think it's very easy to distract people, to have them look the other way, to look at other things that are going on, especially if you manage to lower prices low enough to literally kick these people out of the market. To say that I'm excited for 2025 is a gigantic understatement. Simply because I want to see exactly what happens to the market. I want to see exactly where we end up going. We're getting these these big numbers again. Everyone seems to be super excited for where Bitcoin's going to go. And as of now, the more prominent predictions are floating literally anywhere from $300,000 to $700,000 per coin. Mathematically, the price should do excessively well just because there literally is not a lot of Bitcoin or enough Bitcoin to go around. That's a constant conversation we have once a week. Me and you, we have this conversation because people keep pretending on Twitter and online that there's an abundant amount of Bitcoin. You can hear that a bunch of companies purchased 1 million Bitcoin in one season, and you go, well, Bitcoin's not going to go anywhere. And it's like, oh, you're just not in reality like I thought you were. Yeah, the optimism continues. Everyone is quite excited to see what happens to prices over the course of the next couple of months, especially as we move into the year after the halving, which is typically the magical season of prices and all that stuff. Yeah. I think that is going to do it for this video. I do hope you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.